Welcome to my first vegetable garden. Today I want to go over the 8 plants that I would recommend direct sowing in your garden for your cool weather plants. And real quick, a cool weather crop means these plants can actually take a freeze and a frost. So they are frost tolerant. You don't have to worry about the cold rolling in. These are seeds that you put out early, about 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost date in your area. So you want to check out, for instance, in Maryland, the last frost date is May 15th. I can plant these really starting sometime in March without any kind of fancy protection. You want to sow them in the ground. Obviously, when the ground is not frozen, you can get the seeds in there. They take longer to germinate when the ground is cold. So as you move up, say from mid-March to mid-April, they're going to germinate a little more quickly. But these are 8 plants that I recommend you direct seed for your cool weather crop garden, which means early spring, late winter, and then also be doing a quick video on what I would recommend for the warm weather crops that can't take a frost. So let's just get started with the top. Radishes are one of the easiest crops to grow. Recommend starting these, and we're going to use Maryland. My last frost date is, again, May 15th. So starting in March, middle of March, I would put out some radishes. You can read the seed packs, subscribe, follow me on my channel. I will show you how I plant all these over the coming months, but I just wanted to go over what to buy because it can be so overwhelming. Like, how many seeds do I buy? What seed varieties do I buy? What plants do I get? Any kind of radish. So I would say 1 or 2 packs of radishes. These are French breakfast. I also like the round red radishes, usually called globe radishes or crimson giant. Plant these about every 1 inch to 2 inches apart, 1 to 2 seeds per hole, 1/4 inch deep. Radishes can mature really quickly from germination, and it may take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 4 weeks for some of these seeds to germinate, depending on how cold your soil is. But from germination, the French breakfast are ready for harvest in anywhere from 25 to 35 days. The next plant I'd recommend are peas, the sugar snap type. That's an edible pod, very plump pea. If you are new to gardening, you've never had peas out of the garden, you're going to be amazed at how sweet they taste, fresh picked off the vine. I like to plant my peas about 1 inch apart, 1/2 inch deep. They're going to need something to trellis on. Peas have hollow stems, so you want them to be able to let their tendrils wrap around a couple bamboo posts you put in the ground, tree branches, something to secure them because they're really fragile. Most of your leafy greens are frost tolerant. It's really cool because if you have like lettuce, let's say maybe it's this tall, the leaf can actually freeze through, have frost on it. It's going to thaw. It's going to be perfectly fine come the warmer days of that afternoon. So a lot of these plants can have leaves that freeze and thaw, and there's no damage done to them. I highly recommend lettuce. If you want to grow your lettuces to full size, you want to space them about 6 inches apart. Let them get to a full size. This is romaine. I like romaine because there's loose leaf lettuces which are beautiful, but the leaves are so fragile and light. When you put dressing and stuff on them, they kind of disappear. I like the romaine lettuce or the bib lettuce because it's a thicker leaf. It's delicious, it's sweet, and it holds a dressing really well. But I would definitely plant lettuces. In that same group, spinach. Spinach is very frost tolerant. In fact, I plant spinach late in November and protect it a little bit, and it grows through the winter here in Maryland. Spinach, you want to plant this, about every 4 to 6 inches depending on the size. The closer you plant stuff together, you would harvest it when the leaves are smaller. It's usually called baby spinach or baby lettuce. You just cut it, leave the roots in the ground, and more leaves will sprout from there. Spinach, lettuce, about 1/4 inch deep for the seeds. They do really well. The next one is arugula. That's also a leafy green. It has a kind of a spicy, nutty flavor, much sweeter, tastes a lot better, I think, in the cool weather. These plants do extremely well in cold soil, in cold temperatures. I think they're delicious, perfect to add to salads, put them in stir fries, add them to scrambled eggs. Arugula, the plants will get really large, so if you want them to get to full size, every 6 to 8 inches, if you want to, again, grow them as cut and come again leafy greens, you would plant them maybe 1 inch apart and just cut them when they're smaller. But these plants will get, at least 1 foot tall, if not taller. Kale is another wonderful green to harvest, full of nutrition. This is a red Russian variety. Pick any variety you like. I would only go with one. You want to space these about 8 to 12 inches apart. If you're brand new, sometimes white flies can come and get on your kale. So if you plant them really close together, you get this dense planting, almost a hedge of all these leafy greens, and it's real easy for the white flies to come in. So if you're just getting started, I'd space these out about 12 inches apart. Everything that I'm showing can also be grown in containers. Maybe put kale in different places in your garden. It will grow the entire year, which means cool weather, spring, warm weather, summer, again in the fall, it'll be growing. The plants that I've showed you before this, they're gonna basically not really die off come the summer, but their flavor changes. When their root systems get warmed up from the summer, they all want to flower, they want to bolt, and they're just not delicious. So you can plant them again in the fall. So everything here can be planted in spring, early winter, going into the warmer temperatures, and then you can plant them again in August, going into the cooler temperatures of fall and early winter. Cilantro is an herb, cool weather plant, will grow the whole year. People either love cilantro or they hate it. I recommend it. Plant it about every 6 inches, you know, quarter inch to a half an inch deep. You can read the seed packs. You don't have to over worry about, is this a quarter inch deep, is this a half an inch deep. Cilantro is great to plant now in the middle of March. Again, that's 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost date. It's going to flower. If you let it flower through the summer, it brings in all kinds of beneficial bees and pollinators. So it's a wonderful plant, and it will readily self-seed. So, and then if you harvest the seeds, that's called coriander. So you can harvest the leaves when they're young, let it flower, harvest the seeds, and then you have a spice. And finally, bunching onions, sometimes called green onions. I plant these in a row. I just put a row about half an inch deep, sprinkle in the seeds. They'll fall, maybe land half an inch from each other, quarter inch from each other, cover it over. I get a nice long row of bunching onions, and I just pick them as I need them. It's a great alternative to your standard onions, which take a little bit more skill, and you have to learn more to grow those. Bunching onions are wonderful. Green, you can just cut the tops and use that, or you can let them mature and you'll get a nice white, you know, onion about the size of my thumb, and it does have a nice onion taste to it. Please subscribe and follow me. I will show you how I plant all these, direct seed them into the garden, talk about ways to protect them. These are relatively pest-free, but I'll also be talking about disease management, pest management, and get these started in March. Most of these, once you plant them, after they germinate again, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, you could plant some more. That's called succession planting, which I will explain in future videos. But these are the 8 plants that I recommend for new gardeners to direct sow into the garden 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. Thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and please subscribe. I'll show you how I get all these out into the garden this year.